Hi, this is Marcy Katz, CEO and founder of Bina Consulting. Today, in our series on meeting magic, we're going to continue with the topic of who to invite to your meetings. I know it's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you. You go to a meeting, you don't know why you're there. Other people who are there don't really have a purpose. Some people are missing, and in the end, it's a complete waste of time. Doesn't that drive you nuts? Drives me nuts. So today we're going to talk about the 5 top things that you can do to prevent meetings from being a disaster by focusing on who are the right people to invite. So, number 1, let's make sure that the people who are coming have a purpose. Why are they there? You need to know why they're there as a meeting organizer, and guess what? They need to know why they're there, because have you ever shown up to a meeting and you find out that the person who's leading the meeting or the meeting participants have a certain expectation of you, but nobody told you? That's really frustrating because you get there and then you don't contribute or you're not fully prepared. So, not a good idea. Find out, is the purpose of somebody being there, is it for them to be informed? Is it for them to provide information? Is it for decisions to be made or hurdles to be overcome? And that's going to impact the other 4 things that we talk about. So, really important to understand what are the people's purpose in being there, including your own. Do you have a reason really for having this meeting? Because if it's something quick that can be done by voicemail or something that can be done by email, really respect people's time. Time is so valuable these days. Please respect people's time. Okay, the second thing is what's expected of them. So we talked about what's their purpose for being there. Now let's talk about what's expected of them. Do you want them to participate? Do you want them to deliver information? Do you want them to just sit back and listen? Do you want them to work together as a working session? You need to make sure people know that beforehand. Otherwise, they're not going to come prepared. Again, you're going to be frustrated. They're going to be frustrated. Your meeting participants are going to be frustrated, and it's a waste of time. People walk away saying, what a waste of time. What a stupid meeting. And guess what? You, as the meeting organizer, start to get a reputation of you conduct really crummy meetings. And so nobody's going to want to come to your meeting. So the whole purpose is figure out what the purpose is for having the meeting, who the people are going to be there and why they need to be there, what the expectation is. Make sure they know that. And we're halfway on our way to having a productive meeting. The next thing is, how do we add value? So if I'm invited to a meeting and you want me to add value, again, make sure I have a purpose and make sure I know what is expected of me. If you just want me to sit there and not say anything and I'm just receiving information, is it really adding value for me to be in the room? Is it something you can email me? Do I have other things that I need to be doing? So, for instance, when we worked on big innovation projects and we had the finance people and the sales people and some of the sales planners, if they don't specifically need to be there for that meeting, don't include them. Don't force them to come, because you know what's going to happen? They just won't show up to your meeting because they have other priorities that are bigger than you. And if those priorities are of more importance to the organization or at that time and place, respect their time, respect their workload, let them be where they need to be with the understanding that when you do need them, that they show up or they respond to an email or they participate in the way that you need them to. And trust me, people will gladly participate under those conditions because you're showing them that you respect them and you understand why they're important and why they're not. The next thing is making sure the people who are there have the right level of authority or the right level of information. So again, it goes back to our first 3 steps so far that we talked about. Do they have a purpose? Can they add value? And sometimes what happens is somebody can't make it, and so they send a delegate. Well, that's fine, but it depends on what it is. If you need somebody with authority to come and either provide information or a decision, and they send a delegate who's just there to sit in and listen, it adds no value, and you've just wasted everybody's time. The important thing to really think about here as well is if you have a conference call and you have people around the world or in different time zones, these pieces are really, really critical. If you're inviting people to your meeting and you're wasting their time or it's not organized, they don't need to be there, they could be doing something else, guess what? The next time, if they have a conflict or they have even, a coffee that's calling their name, that's a better option than coming and sitting in your meeting, they're not going to come to your meeting. Okay, so the 5th thing is, do the people need to be there for the full meeting? So maybe they only need to come in for 5 minutes of your meeting. We're going to talk about this more in a session on meeting agendas and planning your meetings. But figure out how much time somebody really needs to be there. And again, can you cover it off before the meeting? Can you cover it off after the meeting with an email? Respect people's times. If you do these 5 things, if you make sure people are adding value, that they have a purpose, that they know their purpose, they know what's expected of them, and that they're there for the appropriate time that they're needed, whether in person or on the phone or whatever, you are going to have a much more effective meeting. And guess what? People are going to love to come to your meeting because they know there's something in it. They're actually adding value. They know what's happening. Your meetings are going to be short and sweet, value packed, and they're going to have so much more success and impact. Okay? So do these 5 things, figure out the right people, and if you have any questions or if you need more information, contact me directly, Marcy, Marcy, at Bina Consulting, B like Bob, INAH Consulting.com. Check out my website, binaconsulting.com, and we'll see you again in the next segment. Thanks and have a great day.